What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we're going to be talking about the 49ers struggling with their run game and their run blocking. Matt, last night, or I should say Sunday night, it was ugly. I mean, overall, as a team, they had 20 carries for 116 yards, and although they averaged 5.8 yards per carry, it didn't look pretty, and the running holes were just not there. What's going on with this running game? It's a Shanahan offense. We're used to them running all over everybody.
Yeah. And don't let those numbers fool you, because two of those carries were to wide receivers. One was a 35-yard Brandon Ayuk touchdown. The other one was a 10-yard Deebo Samuel scamper. So if you take those out, then you're looking at 18 carries for 60 yards or something like that. Just atrocious running. I know McKinnon was 14 for 54. He played 96% of the offensive snaps yesterday. Jeff Wilson Jr. got in there for a couple and had 2 carries for 6 yards. It's just, honestly, it's not good enough. And these are the days where you miss the people like Raheem Mostert. And I think that, cargo plane McKinnon is just too slow to get to the outside like you want. If outside of a couple of big Mostert runs, the 49ers running game hasn't done anything. They haven't been able to get any type of seal in the blocking game, even when they are getting to the holes. And it's just, it's one of those where they're not getting to the second level. They're not getting the push they need. And some of that is, due to defensive stuff, I'm sure. Some of that's due to offensive line struggles. I think a lot of that has to do with, Jimmy Garoppolo being injured, Mullins kind of being back there, because if it was me and I was an opposing defensive coordinator, I would want to let Nick Mullins beat me. As far as we need to make him beat us rather than the running game. So let's stack the box. Let's, take away the run. Let's take away the stuff that they like to do and, see what happens with Nick Mullins. On top of that, there could be a little bit of maybe people are catching up to Shanahan's running scheme. Those large, just gash right there, the 9, the 13, the 14-yard runs that, we were getting last year with Mostert and with Matt Breida and, even with Tevin Coleman at times. It's just not there. So, that's something that needs to be addressed real quick, though, because as the running game goes, so goes your pass protection as well. Because if the defense feels like they can pin their ears back and not have to worry about, running backs leaking out and gaining yards, then, the defense doesn't have to go right after whoever's quarterbacking. So right now, it's definitely a concern for the 49ers going forward.
Most definitely. I would agree with that. And I think most importantly, what you said there is that the defense doesn't respect their running game. So play action doesn't necessarily work because they're not worried about that ball getting headed off and the running back breaking out for a 10, 15-yard run. That's not an issue right now. So they're getting absolutely no time on play action. Usually the linebackers or, the ends will kind of stand pat and wait and see what's going on. But in this case, they're just like, nope, going straight for the quarterback because they don't care if you're handing it off. They're not getting anything done anyway. So it's unfortunate, and I think that it starts up front with the offensive line. They've been kind of getting manhandled all year, and it's not what I'm used to seeing from this 49ers offensive line, especially since they added Trent Williams. And Trent Williams had arguably his first bad game with the 49ers Sunday night against the Eagles. He did not look good at all. Mike McGlinchey specifically, and maybe more so in the passing game, but he's turned into a giant liability out there. To the point where maybe they need to look elsewhere to replace him because something's going on with him. But I think it all comes down to it. You're asking Jet, and like you like to call him cargo plane, to do a lot because he's missed 2 years straight with no football, no activities. And now he comes in and 2.5 weeks into your season, he's your lead back. Yeah. I just think that there's a lot to ask of him. And I don't understand why they go to Hasty more. They went to Jeff Wilson a little bit, but they need Raheem Mostert back to really get a feel on where this offensive line and their running game as a whole is. Because at the beginning, they looked all right. They were doing okay. They were running all right. I mean, mainly some big runs kind of skewed the numbers upward a little bit. But for the most part, they were, managing. And once Mostert went out, once Coleman went out, and now you're down to essentially your third string back, your fourth string back, and then a guy that you just signed off your practice squad, I mean, am I wrong here for saying it's a lot to ask of them? Should they still be able to perform, given that the offensive line is most of their starters?
Well, if you think about it, notwithstanding the 2 years that he missed due to injury, when has Jerick McKinnon ever been a lead back? He wasn't a lead back in Minnesota. He was their third down running back, where he was behind Adrian Peterson. So he's never been a guy that's going to be your bell cow that you're going to give the ball 15, 20 times to. So the fact that they're doing it now, especially as it's pretty clear that he has diminished straight line speed, he's just not fast anymore. It's kind of puzzling. It's almost like, well, let's just throw him out there because he's the healthy guy. And, if he gets beat up, he gets beat up. Let's make him earn that money, and whatever happens. But you think highly enough of JaMychal Hasty to protect him twice and put him on your active roster, but you can't get him 1, 2, 3, a handful of carries when it's very clear that McKinnon is not getting the job done. It just doesn't make sense to me. So whatever they're doing there is just, it's one of those things where you're just like, are they just trying to hold down the fort people come back? As far as Mike McGlinchey, man, it's bad. Somebody needs to call Joe Staley and hire him as like a dietitian / consultant / the guy that walks up behind him and like grabs his face and makes him smile or whatever. Because whatever is happening with McGlinchey, it might be time to old yeller him, take him out back, and end his misery because he has looked god awful. Horrendous. He had a good PFF grade, whatever that's worth, in the game against I think it was the Giants where he got knocked flat on his ass, right? And that continued against the Eagles where he was just bullied over and over and over again into the backfield where he'd whiff on blocks. I think the only positive thing that he did, cornerback's kneecap, so I don't know. For being, I think, what was McGlinchey, like 11th overall, 10th overall, something like that, 9th? He was a top 10 pick, I think. I think he was 9th. That's not good enough. Not nearly good enough. There may be consideration to move on if he's not going to improve. And I think a large part of his problem is, like you said in the postgame, he's always taken that step back real quick because he's afraid of the bull rush. Well, part of that problem is he's, weighs like 250, 260 when he should be 280, 290, You don't have to be 350 pounds, but at 6'8", dude, you look like a stiff breeze will knock you over. And in a lot of cases on the field, true. So, they always talk about when you get to the NFL, they give you a ham sandwich, put you on a weight program, and you slap on 30 pounds. I don't know if McGlinchey missed that. I don't know what happened, but it doesn't look like he put in the work that he needed to stay in football shape. And he frankly looks like a lot of those offensive linemen after they retire, where they drop all their weight. And I think being away from the facility and being away from, teammates and stuff might have affected him. Maybe, get a big boy like Laken Tomlinson to take him out and get him some good food. He's obviously lost a ton of weight. You can see it from his pictures at Notre Dame and now, and compare him, and he looks like a completely different person. He might as well be playing tight end out there. So, yeah, it's not working with McGlinchey. They got to figure it out quick. Otherwise, he's going to be gone. Simple as that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I'm not sure he's so thin. He looks like a tight end. We've said this before. They need to figure something out with him, like you said, because it's not working, and he's become a liability out there. Nick Mullins.
And for all you fans that want to be like, kick him inside to guard, the dude's 6'8". He's not going to fit. Like, there's no damn 6'8" guards. Like, that's just too tall. Because then he's going to get bull rushed by defensive tackles. Aaron Donald's going to get under his pads and knock him flat on his ass, and then that's going to be right in Jimmy Garoppolo's knee. You know what I mean? So you don't want that either.
No, not at all. It's either pretty much put up or shut up and get out of the way and let somebody else do it at this point. He hasn't proved to be worth what the 49ers spent on him in draft capital so far. Hopefully he can get it turned around, but it's getting pretty close to where they got to cut ties and invest in somebody else who can protect that right side of the line. But I was looking on PFF, and he was their ninth overall best player on 49ers offense with an overall grade of 65.5, so it's not fantastic. But I did want to talk about number 10, or excuse me, he was 68.3. With the 65.5 was Kyle Juszczyk. Why the hell is he not being utilized as much? I don't notice. I don't see as many fullback led runs by this offense, and I feel like that's where they had the majority of their success last season. Have you noticed that as well, Matt? Is there a reason why you don't think Juszczyk is being used as much in the running game? Because I feel like they have way more success when they do.
I can't tell you why, but I have noticed that Juszczyk's been missing. I think he has like 2 catches on the year too. So they're not. You know, a couple of years ago we hear about the offensive weapon and all this stuff, and it's just like, well, now they're not even using him to block. And you know, that was one of the big things when he was missing last year that they missed was some of those blocks. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It's just such a weird season so far offensively for the 49ers. They just seem so uneven, and I know injuries are a part of that, but especially with blocking, and I feel like play calling too. It's been a little off, not what we're used to. And I don't know if Kyle is trying some new stuff or if Kyle didn't get to install as much as he wanted to because of the truncated offseason. It just looks really weird, but they have to figure it out quick. I mean, really, the Miami game has to be like a let's gel for, you know, this middle run of the season that's going to be tough and go from there because, I mean, if not, it's the, you know, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I totally agree. They need to get it going, and they need to get Juszczyk more involved in this offense because they are just more effective and better as a whole unit when he is involved, whether it's in the running game, the passing game, the blocking game. He needs to be involved. He's getting that high salary for a reason. Get the man involved. And, yeah, I agree. Something's going on with play calling. I'm not quite sure what, but hopefully Kyle kind of gets back to his roots once this team does get healthier, starting this week with hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo being under center. But I think that's going to do it for us today, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. If you like what you see, you want more content just like this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and also drop a comment below. What do you think the reason is for the 49ers having struggles in their running game?
And go ahead and click the bell, turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Until next time, go Niners.